Want more podcasts? Head over to gmg-podcast.com.
I've known you for quite a while, and you've had an extensive amateur career, right? How many fights amateur do you have total?
Um, Somewhere in the 80s. Literally lost count. Maybe like 80, 85,
Yeah.
80, somewhere between 80 and somewhere between 80 and 85, somewhere in there.
Now, why so long?
You gotta make sure you have it right before you turn pro. You gotta
Yeah.
make sure you got all the tools you can before you turn pro, because that's when the record really matters, right? So you got to get the experience as an amateur before you make that transition.
So was it more of making sure that you were ready thing, that your skill set was ready for pro, or was it more of like to mentally get you ready to do that many? Because I know that like boxing and like say MMA is a bit different in terms of the physicality and the injuries involved. But
Mhm.
some would argue that you're wasting. I wouldn't say wasting, but 80 fights as an amateur. That's a lot of manpower that you could have went towards making money. So, what was the methodology that you and your coach had with that extensive kind of amateur career?
Yeah, so I started the sport late, right? Compared to like other people who are like professionals now in boxing. Like
Yeah,
I didn't have my first fight until I was already 17 years old. I didn't even lace up a pair of gloves until I was 16, like the later half of 16. I was already like almost 17 by the time I had my first time I even threw a punch.
yeah,
So for us, especially coming from like a background like that, you definitely have to make sure you're more prepared, because the guys you fight later on in your amateur career and like at the top levels as a pro are the guys who've been fighting since they're like in the crib.
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
you gotta,
You know what I
you
mean?
gotta, yeah. So you gotta be able to bang with those guys before you make that transition to the amateur. Sorry, make that transition to the pros. So that's
Yeah,
what me and Horace were always looking at. Like
yeah,
even as an
and
amateur, we knew to like we were looking at the pro scene, not like my whole amateur career was just grooming me to become a better professional.
so it wasn't really that you were like aiming for Olympic level boxing or anything like that. It was more of like turning pro was always the goal, but you were kind of just making sure that you've seen all the styles and the things you want to see before you make that jump into the ship, right?
Exactly, you got it, hit it right on the nail. So that's
Yeah.
exactly it.